Welcome to the guiding videos of our map reading modules. In today's video, we are going to show you how to use the grid reference system to show the location of some specific features on map. So what actually is grid references? Grid references are a grid system for locating places or features on maps because sometimes the map would be too large. So if we really want to point out something with our friends, so they may also find it difficult to find it because the map is just too large. So at that moment, we can use the grid references to help us. So grid references are actually constructed by different grid lines, and then there are two set of lines on map, and then they are the vertical lines and horizontal lines. And we also have a specific names for each of them. They are the easting and northing. So right now you can see 64 and 65, these blue lines are easting because they are the vertical grid lines. And then for the red line here, 12 and 13, they would be the northings because they are the horizontal grid lines. And why do we call them easting and northing? Because their values increase eastward and northward. So right now you can see the next line just at the east side of 64 will be 65. So you can also find 66, 67 at the east side because the value of the easting increase eastward. But if we are talking about the line to the west, and then right here, we would then find the yeasting 63, then the yeasting 62 and 61 because this kind of value increase eastward. So in other words, it will decrease westward. Okay, so northing also share the same concept. Right here, we can find the red line here is the northing 12 and northing 13, and then you can also find northing 14, 15 northwards. So after we have understand the concept of these grid lines, we can then easily find out actually every places, every location shown on map are also divided by different square because all these grid lines, the easting and northing, they will then put every place in the map into different grid square. So if we want to share some location with our friends, we just have to tell them the corresponding grid square. How to tell them? We can tell them the four-figure grid references. Sure, right here for location A, I mean point A here, you can see this point had just reached 64, but hasn't touched 65 yet. So it belongs to the regions of eastern 64. And point A here, it has passed northing 12, but hasn't reached 13 yet. So it belongs to the regions of northing 12. So if we want to tell our friend the location of point A, we can just easily tell them 6412 because 6412 is the four-figure grid references referring to this specific grid square. So that's how we use the grid reference system to share the location of some features with our friends. And then the next thing we can do is to further divide the grid square into 100 smaller square. Why do we have to do it? Because sometimes there may be too many information shown on one grid square. So in order to tell a friend more accurate, more specific, precise, locational uh, information, we can then tell them six-figure group references. So in order to do that, we have to further divide the grid square into 100 smaller square. So right now you can see from 64 to 65. So the region right here has been divided further by 10 vertical lines and 10 horizontal lines. So you can right now see location A right here actually belong to the third section of Easting 64 because you can see Pony here it has passed the third line segment of 64 but hasn't reached the fourth line segment yet. So for Easting, we should give them the 643 three-figure references. As to nothing, we also do the same thing because we can also find out point A right here should belong to nothing 12. But if we further divided this area into 10 more line sections, so we can see this point A here has passed the fifth section of nothing 12, but hasn't reached the sixth section of nothing 12. So we can then find out the second set of six-figure grid references. That should be 1, 2, 5, because point A right here passed the fifth session but hasn't reached the sixth session yet. So altogether, combining the Easton and nothing, we can then have a complete six-figure grid references. That would be 6, 4, 3, 1, 2, 5. So these references refer to everything shown within these regions. And finally, after you have practiced it and you're getting more familiar with it, so there are also some tips I want to share with you because we don't really have to really draw out these slides each and every time because that would be so time consuming. So how can we save our time? We can just pretend there is some kind of imaginary lines. So we can imagine there are some kind of virtual line there, so we don't really have to draw out all the lines in order to divide this grid square into 100 smaller square. So how can we do it? If we place a ruler onto a map with 1 to 20,000 ratios, so you can see easily find out actually for each grid square, the length and also the width should be 5 cm plus 5 cm. So that means if we want to divide it right here, this vertical area into 10 equal sections, that means that for every 0.5 cm, we also have to draw one line. So we just imagine there are some virtual line here. We don't really have to draw them because right now you can find out point A here is located between 1.5 cm and 2 cm. So that means that it should be located between the third session and the fourth session. And then we use the same concept. This pawn has passed the first session but hasn't actually reached the fourth session yet. So it belongs to the first session. And then we can conclude the first free figure that will be 6, 4, 3. Similarly, for nothing, we also do the same thing. So right here, we can see location A right here is located between 2.5 cm and 3 cm. So in other words, that means that these point A here should be located in the fifth section of the nothing 12. So altogether, we can easily find out the six-figure group references. That would be 6, 4, 3, 1, 2, 5. And then we can skip all the procedure of really drawing all the grid lines. So that's it I want to share with you today. So see you next time. Bye bye.